This is a scam that's going on. Are you sure you're not getting scammed?
Welcome to GOA State of the Second podcast. My name is John, and today we're joined by Klay and Chad from United Patriot Coin. How are you guys today?
Great.
Doing good.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and dive in a little bit about who you guys are, what you do for United Patriot Coin. We'll go a little bit deeper later on the show, but go ahead and just introduce yourself to the folks.
Yeah, so my name's Chad Burge, and I'm the general manager here at United Patriot Coin, which basically means that I kind of make sure everything goes smoothly on all sides of the business, and ultimately means I get in trouble if something goes wrong.
Yeah, my name's Klay. I'm the numismatist here at United Patriot Coin and director of e-commerce. Basically, what I do is I buy and sell the metals and make sure that we're able to fulfill our orders that come across online. And I've been doing this for about 30 years.
Awesome. Well, we're going to jump into our first segment, which is rapid fire questions. Rapid fire questions brought to you by Blackout Coffee. Try Blackout Coffee's GOA No Compromise blend. Get your freedom caffeinated from Blackout Coffee. You can find that on the GOA store or at Blackout Coffee. Now, I'm going to ask you guys 5 questions. You can answer them as quickly or slowly as you want, and we'll go from there. So, first question, if you could go back in time and change history, would you?
I would probably not. No.
Yeah, I don't think I would either. I think no, I wouldn't.
All right. What was your last impulse buy?
A suppressor. Yeah, I finally got on. I bought a Surefire RC2 556 suppressor, and yeah, that was my last sort of like impulse buy.
Me, probably something at Bass Pro Shops, a new fishing rod. They just opened one up here down the road. So,
those are good impulse buys. See, do you think aliens are real?
Well, I know that they did. So they did. Didn't they have like a congressional hearing on that over the last like day or two? And it sounds like maybe, but I don't know. That's a hard one. I would say my instincts is to say maybe, just because the universe is so big, right? Mathematically, maybe.
I don't know. I tend to lean that way. There's a movie that came out, I think it was a late 90s, called Fire in the Sky. And supposedly it was a true story. But once you watch this show, you kind of start thinking, yeah, this could be real.
All right. What have you been binge watching lately?
I've been on The Penguin.
Ooh, good one.
It has been. It's been very good. It's crazy what they like, that suit they put Colin Farrell in. Like, you can't even tell that's Colin Farrell. It's pretty incredible. It's been that's what we've been into lately.
Tulsa King all the way.
Oh, hit me right here. I love Tulsa King. Such a good show.
Yeah,
I've been binge watching. So I finished the last episode of Tulsa King on the flight here the other day. I've been watching Lioness.
That's a good show too. That's season 2's out right now. So that's good.
I'm almost through season 1, so I'm really excited for that. Last question: if you could make one firearms movie realistic, which one would it be?
One firearms movie realistic.
Question.
Yeah, I don't know. When you say firearms movie, my immediate,
like a war movie or what?
I don't know. So it's like, I think about Heat, but Heat is pretty realistic, So I'm trying to think of like a movie that's firearms, but like not very realistic. Maybe like Police Academy,
or Tropic Thunder.
Oh yeah, Tropic Thunder is a good one.
Yeah, the one that we've gotten the most of from that question is Rambo: First Blood.
Really?
Yeah. It's I don't know why everyone falls to every guest that I've asked that to all say Rambo: First Blood. I don't know if it's just, yeah.
Dang, we blew it.
It's all right. Oh, well. It's good to have new ones because I
think of a knife when I think about Rambo. I don't even. Yeah. And I think in First Blood, like, what is it? He only kills like one person, right? And so I mean, there's guns involved, but I always think when I think Rambo, I think that big knife. So
don't blame you. That's what I think too. but everyone keeps saying they're like, "Oh, the M60 scene should have been more realistic." I was like,
Really?
okay.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it.
So that is our rapid fire question segment. That is brought to you by Blackout Coffee. Again, check out Blackout Coffee's no compromise blend. Support companies that support GOA. Go get yourself some Blackout Coffee today. So we're going to dive into the meat and potatoes of this. Tell us a little bit about United Patriot Coin, how the business works, what you guys all do.
Yeah, so United Patriot Coin was started by a pair of brothers named Scott and Glenn Heinen. They're farmers and agricultural. They're in the agriculture industry up in Kansas, and they put together a team here after wanting to get involved in gold and in guns, actually. And basically, it was started with the idea of they had been buying gold and silver for a long time, and they had kind of made a lot of the mistakes that a lot of people do when they first get into it, and they wanted to start a company from out of those mistakes and kind of do more like an education first company and bring something a little bit different to the market as opposed to leading with what we want to sell. We're trying to do what's right for the customer and educate the customer and help them avoid some of the pitfalls that they had that we've all made and all seen in the past.
Yeah, and that's great to hear. So you guys deal with gold and silver. There's a ton of different options. I know you guys have some cool props you want to show off. So let's go show some cool stuff off.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to my numismatist since he's the.
I would say probably for this show, we've got a 50 caliber silver bullet, which is 10 ounces of pure silver. They also make these in 5 ounces, which are shotgun shells, which are pretty cool. And they make a 2 ounce 308 and 45 for the 1 ounce. So they come in different sizes, and they're just pretty cool for, they're a little bit more than what you would pay for, just the silver content, just because it's kind of more of a novelty, But,
yeah. And then we've got this Second Amendment round here. So this is 5 ounces of silver. Got a Patriot there on the front, and then on the Second Amendment on the back. So well-regulated militia on there. And we've even got some old stuff here too. So we've got some old sort of pirate gold. This is like an Escudo back in the day. So this is a 1734. So from before America was even born. Then we can even go older than that. We've got this is kind of Klay's expertise. He's really into ancient coins. So this is a 2,500-year-old Greek silver coin there.
Yeah, Athenian Al. It's 440 to 404 BC, and it's kind of crazy, how good a condition these things can be in, being that old.
Nuts.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty crazy.
So,
considering they didn't have a minting process and everything like that back then, everything was just done by hand and with a hammer.
I told you he's into the ancient stuff.
Listen, I can talk ancient Rome, Greece, all the stuff. It's crazy to see. Like he said, I've seen them in the past. Like, you can't copy that because it's just so, like, they're just doing it by hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, the people that were making the coinage and stuff like that, that's what I really like about, coins and things like that, is it's art and history all balled up into one, and the people that were actually, designated to make these were like the best artist in the whole region, was appointed to make the currency. So a lot of history, a lot of art, really cool.
So you're saying I wouldn't get that job, is what you're saying?
I don't know. I mean, you might. This coin here is a $20 St. Gaudens, which was commissioned for Augustus St. Gaudens, and he's a well-known sculptor. And he passed away in 1907, right before these things went into circulation.
I'm sitting here, I'm listening to this episode. How do I get into precious metals? I'm interested. I want to hedge my bets. I want to get more precious metal in case something crazy happens. How do I get into this? What's the best way to get into all this?
So you can call us. at our phone number, which is on our website, or I'll say it here in a second. But you can go to unitedpatriotcoin.com. You can sign up for our newsletter there called the Patriot Dispatch, which puts out a lot of great information. And then, do some research on there. Obviously, YouTube is a great resource as well. I would encourage you to go do some research on YouTube. And then, call us and, we'll help guide you through what you're looking to achieve and tailor towards your goals and what you're wanting to do.
So if I call you guys and I say, hey, I want to do $20 a month in silver, gold, whatever, what's the best way to start doing that?
So our most popular entry product is called our Patriot Pack, which starts around a $200 price point. And what that comes with is you get a couple 1 ounce silver rounds. These are pretty cool because these are actually divisible. So you can break these. You can see like the little cuts in them. You can break those apart into little 1/4 ounce pieces. And then you get 5 little 1 gram bars. And then you get one gram piece of gold too. I don't know if you can see that gold in there. And it all comes in a cute little, we'll call it manly bag. And you can put it all in there. And that's something that we're starting to see more and more of is people wanting to do that monthly subscription or a monthly purchase amount. With silver being at like $30 an ounce right now, I'd probably try to get you to go a little bit higher than $20, but you could get in there if you want to. But the smaller amounts, you got to think about, you can end up paying a little bit more of a premium. So because it's harder and harder to make smaller pieces. So I would want you to, I'd probably say, let's do a little bit more, let's go for like $100 or $200 or something like that.
Yeah. And if someone is interested in this, people have seen the way the world is, and a lot of people are coming back to precious metals. Why would I what would be the best benefit to invest in precious metals over throwing it into a stock market or throwing it into an investment fund? And what's the value of holding on to some of that precious metals that we've done away with? Most people have just kind of done away with it. And as a society, we've gotten off the gold standard and all that stuff. What's the benefit of all this?
I would say just your purchasing power has remained the same. I mean, the things when gold was $20 an ounce back in 1933, it bought 1 ounce of gold would buy the same amount of stuff that it would today. Okay. But how many $20 bills does that take? You go back 2,500 years when this coin was made. Okay. This amount of silver back then would buy the same amount of products as it would today. So the purchasing power of gold and silver have remained the same. The only difference is the value of a dollar. As well as I do, $20 doesn't buy what it did, 5, 6, 10 years ago. Not even close. But the purchasing power of your gold and silver, whether the price of gold goes up or down, is really, doesn't matter. It's just the value of that at that time and what you can get for it.
Yeah, it's really about wealth preservation and the freezing of that value of that money that you have. And I never really like to consider it like an all or a nothing or a this versus that, right? I think diversification is the key when it comes to everything, because you just don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So for me, most of the time, it's like, I encourage you to have some stocks, but I also encourage you, let's have some gold and silver, let's have some bonds, let's have some a mixture of different things, and then even diversity within the diversity, just because it covers you either way, no matter what's going. And then we really look at precious metals as a mid to long term thing. This isn't something that you buy today and sell tomorrow. This is something that you hold on to for the long term. And generally most of our customers are passing it down, just like you do with firearms. They're not normally something you sell, you're something that you pass down to your kids and to your grandkids. And, it's like my dad always says, he's given me some guns over the years, and he says, son, don't you ever sell those. And if you ever get into a financial bind like that, call me first before you start trying to sell guns or something like that. And it's kind of the same thing with gold and silver as well.
Yeah. My dad always said, we don't sell guns. We'll trade guns, but we don't sell them.
Wait, we're not selling guns. No, I'm with you guys. No. I don't sell any guns. I'd rather hold on to them. The value just goes up and up. So I call you guys. I decide to go invest $200, get my pack. How do I receive that? Is that something that I have to go to a storefront for? Does it get mailed to me? How's that work?
Nope. It's completely mailed to you. If you were to go online and place your order, it'd take your payment over on the website, verify you, make sure you're not fraud, because we don't want anybody out there using your credit card, buying gold and getting it shipped somewhere else. So it'll have to be shipped to your billing address, and then it'll get shipped directly to you once your payment clears. If it's over, a certain dollar amount, it will be shipped FedEx, and you'll have to sign for it. But smaller packages like these Patriot packs or something, we just go ahead and put those into the regular postal service and get it to you.
And then when I get it, what's the best way to store it? Do you just throw it into a safe? Is there
most people put it in safes?
Gun safe,
yep.
Yeah.
Throw it in there. Put it in there with a gun safe.
Yeah, throw it in there with a gun safe, or some people do safety deposit boxes at the bank and stuff like that. But I would think most of the viewers here probably have a gun safe, so I'd put it in there.
People used to bury it in their chicken coops.
Oh.
Because it was a good, if someone's getting into chickens, you're knowing it. So
yeah, that's true.
I've heard stories about in the South people digging up silver and gold in their backyard, not knowing it's there. Somebody left it there. It's a thing.
It is.
Yeah.
So if I buy stuff from you, right? Do I have to fill out any paperwork? Is there anything that I have to do anything like that? Or is it just like I buy it shows up at the house, I'm good to go?
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously I need to know where to ship it, and then if you're going to pay by credit card and stuff like that, then, that all needs to check out, when the credit card process. But other than that, no, there's no forms or no reporting requirements, or anything like that.
Yeah. And then if I buy it from you guys and, 10 years go by, I come in a money crunch, do I call you guys to go sell it back to you?
Definitely give us a call back.
Yep.
We're a two-way market, buying and selling.
See, precious metals is something I'm starting to get into. I really like the idea of having some on hand. What would be the best amount to just keep on hand? Do you guys have a recommended amount, or is there something a recommended yearly, monthly buy that we should?
I think that depends on everybody's financial situation. Some people, we've got people that, they'll do $1,000 a month. And we got some people that do a lot more than that. But then we have some people that just, can do a couple $100 a month, and we treat them the same as if they're coming in here and spending $500,000 at a time.
Yeah, I think most kind of like financial advisors, which we're not, but they'll recommend, anywhere from like 10 to 15% of your overall portfolio within precious metals in normal times. Obviously if you think, some people are, this is not normal times, so, we're hoping that it gets better very soon here in the near future, obviously. But so within that range. But yeah, like we were talking about before, diversity is key too.
Yeah. And what do you think is the best time to purchase precious metals? Is it when the market's down? Is it now? Is it like, what is the best time to kind of find those precious metals and start investing? So
I would say there's not the best time. Okay. If you've got the funds available to do it, I'll do it. If it's there for you. If you try to time it, and I've been in this market for 30 years, and I'm going to tell you right now, every time I make a purchase of gold or silver, it goes down. Okay. Every time I sell, it goes up. But like I was saying earlier, the purchasing power is what you're looking at over a long-term period of time. So trying to time it, gold's going down. Let me just, wait and see, is it good to buy now, or should I wait till next month? There's really not I would say now.
Exactly. Yeah. I think there's that, that old saying about the best time to plant a tree, right? And I always try to encourage people to pull out the chart and kind of look at the macro, it looks cool to look at the daily charts of the gold and silver price or monthly, but it's, pull out and look at that 5-year, 10-year, 20-year pricing of gold and silver and see what it's been doing. And then, if you buy along that time, that's where you should be making that decision. It's like Klay said, it's impossible to time the market. So it's just really about just continuing to add.
Yeah. And if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the price of gold, I'm looking at the price of silver. I see silver's $30 an ounce. I get more silver for my bang for my buck. Should I diversify into both, or is there one way if I say, hey, I just want silver, or hey, I just want gold, or should I diversify between the two?
I would definitely diversify between the two, but you got to keep in mind, okay, so $20,000 worth of silver, it's going to be really hard for you to move around, okay? 500 ounces right now is probably, 18,000, okay? That's going to be really hard for you to move around if your house catches on fire or something like that, and you're trying to get stuff out. You're going to go for your guns, and you're going to go for your gold, and you're going to go for pets, hopefully, But,
wait, where's your wife? Wife?
Well, I mean, hopefully she's helping me carry stuff out, But no, silver's extremely heavy when it comes to $20,000, $30,000 worth of it. Whereas gold, I could put $50,000, $60,000 worth of gold in my pocket, and you'd never know I had it. It's just a lot more portable, I would say.
Right.
But some people really die hard on silver. Some people really die hard on gold. It's just your preference.
And then when we're looking at that, is it more better to get you showed off the ones that break into pieces? Those are great for if you're bartering with people or stuff like that. Is it better to get coinage, novelty stuff, things like that, or is it better to get what do you guys recommend if I'm going to be carrying this around? Let's just say the world ends and I got to go barter with people and I got to carry this stuff around. What's the best options for that?
Yeah. So for that situation, that's exactly what our Patriot pack was originally designed for. Number one, it's an affordable entry point to get into precious metals, but it was really designed for that sort of bartering situation in mind, because you can break down, the 1 ounce rounds into smaller pieces. You can break down the little 1 gram pieces down into little 1 gram pieces. That's where I would go. I wanted to answer that with buy what you like. I like different coins. I like to collect the stuff that's military related or World War II related and that kind of stuff. But for that particular, if you're foreseeing bartering and stuff like that, then Patriot Pack is a great place to start. We have what's called constitutional silver or junk silver, which is 90% silver from basically American coinage that was minted before 1964. And what I mean by that is regular coins like quarters, dimes, and stuff like that. That actually used to be real money. It had 90% silver in it. So that kind of stuff. And then, I think Klay was having this here. We have these combi bars. These are little 10-gram pieces of silver that it's like a Hershey bar. You can break it apart. So that's the kind of stuff I would be getting in for a bartering situation. If you're not getting prepared for that, then diversify into other stuff and get what you like.
Yeah, I mean, I think those 50 cal rounds are calling my name. Those are
they're super cool.
That's super cool.
We brought sorry to cut you off. We actually exhibited at Goals in Knoxville, and that was such a popular item to have. We had those 50 cal rounds out, and people just loved them.
How much? Speaking of Goals, because I appreciate you guys being at the show. It was a first time event. It was a great success for us. How was it for you guys to be meeting with our members, seeing them, they're passionate about gold and silver and things like that?
It was awesome. We really, honestly, when we first got there, when we got to Knoxville, we landed late. I think it was midnight or something like that. And I really thought we were in trouble for a second because it was 45 minutes for an Uber, and all this. I was like, oh man, this could be bad. But I was really impressed by the turnout at Goals. So much so that we're going again next year. We signed up. We want the same booth and everything. It was really great to be able to connect with other Second Amendment supporters and talk to everybody. And the turnout was really impressive, and we had a really good time.
I think it was a good show.
Did they? Because I haven't talked to you guys since the show. What was our members' reception to gold and silver, and just talking to you guys about it?
I think there was a lot of curiosity, because I don't think they were expecting to see a gold company set up there. and we were right by the concession, so there was a lot of traffic coming by us several times a day. But a lot of them, if when they looked over and they saw what we had, they stopped and they were curious, and there was a lot of questions that we were able to answer. And I think that's why we'll go back for sure, because it just seems like there was a lot of curiosity and a lot of people that were interested in it, that had never even thought about it before.
Yeah.
And then you had some guys that have been like, oh, I've been buying silver for 40 years and I'm going to keep buying it, blah, 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 but there's a lot of curiosity. And I think it was good to answer those questions and introduce those people to this. And it's another form of, protecting your wealth.
And what I was also really surprised about was there was people that had gold and silver on them.
Mm-hmm.
So like we had a bunch of people come up to us. There was ladies who had necklaces and they would pull out and they had these little 1 gram pieces like in their necklace, like ready to pop out and like trade. There was guys who were like opening their wallets and they had like the little credit cards with like pieces of silver or pieces of gold in it. So that part was really surprising to me, was like seeing people just like, oh, look, I've got gold on me. They were like ready to barter. And so that was cool.
Yeah. I mean, what were some of the questions you were getting? Because it is gold and silver is one of those things and that are curiosity people. And a lot of people, like you mentioned, don't remember, or at least the newer generations don't remember silver coins and silver dimes and quarters and how we were on the gold standard and the dollar bill said, hey, this is, redeemable for silver at any time or gold. Now, what were those questions? Because it is a curiosity, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's just gold and silver. You put it around your neck or put it on your hands. Not a lot of people invest in it or keep it as much as they used to.
Right. Yeah, it was like a really great mixture. The younger people, like what you're saying, really didn't know that America used to make, and still does make gold coins and stuff like that. We did have some of the silver certificates, like what you're talking about. And so a lot of it was like education, just talking to people about, this is what we used to do. And this is what used to happen here in this country. And this is real money. It's not just, fiat currency, like kind of what we have now. But then like Klay was saying, there was also a lot of people just coming up, who they already knew everything. They knew stuff, they were teaching us stuff about things. And, so it was pretty cool. But what were some of the questions you got, Klay?
A lot of the questions, were the ones that you've been asking here. So how do I do this? How do I get started? How much should I buy? Things like that. Just really basic questions that, that we were able to answer and point them in the direct direction for their needs.
Yeah. And that's the big thing that I've learned about gold and silver. Cause my gold and silver experience is 50-cent pieces and dimes. Cause I used to work at cash register. So people come up and you go, wait a second. It's a little shinier, a little different.
Looks different.
Makes a different sound.
Looks different. Yeah.
And so I bought 5 rolls of Mercury Head dimes when I was working at a cash register, because I opened it and I looked at it and I was like, wait a second. Nope. Those are mine. I'll put my money in the drawer. But it's those things where even now you may come across a silver quarter or silver dime somewhere. How do you tell if it's silver if you don't know?
So basically the date is the easiest way to tell. Anything 64 and before is going to be 90% silver. Okay. We've got clients here that actually go to banks and buy rolls and bags of half dollars and quarters and things like that. And they'll just run it through their machines. They've got certain, counting machines that will throw aside the silver coins.
Yeah. It's like a treasure hunt for them.
Yeah. And they'll do it. They'll go to the bank and spend $3,000 or $4,000 getting coins, come back, sit in their garage or at their table at home and just do that for fun. And, and sometimes they'll walk away making a couple $100 out of one batch, and then they'll just bring them back and do it again at another branch. It's fun for some people. Some people really get into the collecting aspect of it, which is, really fascinating for me, when you have these old pieces from ancient or 1734 or something like that. I mean, you can see once you hold these things in your hands, you can see how you could kind of get an attachment to different coins and stuff like that.
Yeah, and on the older stuff, this is a question that I'm pondering. On the older stuff, is it more the value of the weight of the metal, or is it more the value of how old it is?
So the age of it really doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. What you're looking at really is history, condition, and supply, and demand. Condition, this thing being from 1734, it's in a mint state 61 condition. It's uncirculated, meaning it doesn't have any wear or tear on it, and that's pretty incredible for a coin being that old. That's going to determine the value of it, and then also how many of them are in this particular grade or higher. And then, of course, you've got to have quite a few people wanting to create the demand on it.
So if I've got precious metals, let's just say I've invested in precious metals. I go to a gun store, I want to buy something. Do you think they'll take my precious metals off of my hands, or is that something you get from people?
I would definitely say if it's one of the guys that came up to our booth and says, I buy gold and silver all the time, and he's a gun guy and he owns a gun shop, he'll probably trade you for sure.
Yeah. I think there's a pretty good chance that you can. We have I have some local customers here that they barter at the local farmers market with silver. And we've done stuff where we've bought hunting trips with silver, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that it's becoming it's becoming more common for sure.
I mean, you want to tell them about supply, and they've got gold and stuff there at the.
Yeah. And then, I mean, like our sister company, United Patriot Supply, our physical location for that store is in Seneca, Kansas. They have gold and silver on display there. And, they're all into it there too. So.
Yeah. I was going to ask, if I want to come visit you guys and handle some of this stuff and look at it, so it'd be United Patriot Supply, I would go in there and handle it, or is there a way to come and just sit down and talk with you guys in person?
Yeah, so you got two options. If you can go there to Seneca, Kansas, to our shop there, United Patriot Supply. They've got some gold and silver on hand there for you to look at. And then if you're local we're located in Shenandoah, Texas, which is right north of Houston. You can call us and set an appointment here and come spend some time with us here. So you got two different options there. And then other than that, the website is the other place you would go.
That's awesome. Well, we are at the halfway point. I appreciate you guys sharing some of that. We're at our halfway point. We're going to go to our next segment, which is From the Soapbox. That's where we talk policy, our biggest frustrations, gripes, everything with politicians, ATF, and anything in between. This is brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Use code GOA at checkout at Patriot Mobile for 1 month free. Patriot Mobile uses all the big wireless networks, able to switch networks if you want, as well as they are pro-freedom, pro-America. So go ahead and check out Patriot Mobile. Again, use code GOA to get your first month of service free. So this is where we stand on our soapbox and preach to the choir. What is your guys' take from the soapbox?
So I would really like to bring some awareness to something that we've started to see rising, especially this year, which is a rise in what's called a tech support scam. And it's a gold scam. And basically what's been going on is you get a pop-up on your computer, and it seems like you need to call Microsoft or some sort of official sounding technology company or manufacturer. And then you call them, and then next thing you know, they're saying your accounts are compromised, you're in trouble. And then you get transferred to someone who's appearing to be a government representative from either the Department of Treasury or the FTC or some sort of very official sounding thing. And now all of a sudden you need to protect all of your money. And the way you need to protect all your money is to buy gold bars and give it to them. You got to give this gold bars to the Treasury Department so they can keep it in a Treasury locker for you and save your money until you get everything sorted out. And when I'm saying it like this, it sounds like something like, oh yeah, you would never. Obviously there's a bunch of red flags here, right? But there's a lot of victims. If you do a Google search on this, you'll see a lot of people are falling. I'm talking millions and millions and millions of dollars is being scammed, primarily targeting the elderly, but it's obviously also others are falling victim as well. And, it's something that I just wanted to really kind of bring. That's where I want to, it feels so boxy, because it's really tough, to see people, lose everything they worked for their whole lives for, or a lot of money, just thinking that they were doing something right. And then next thing all their money was gone. And, sorry, it's not gun related, but
yeah, we've had a few scenarios like that happen this year with some clients of ours that got scammed, for a significant amount of money. And we were trying to figure out how this is actually happening, how they trusting these people to buy gold from us and just meeting them and giving them just handing them their gold. And then I saw this movie that came out. It's called The Beekeeper, and it's got Jason Statham in it. And it runs along the same line as what's happening in this industry is they get a pop-up on their screen. They think everything's, messed up with their accounts, and they got to move money into this other account and stuff like that. And then once they do that, it's gone, so there's a lot of shady characters out there that are pinpointing, elderly and people that, are getting taken advantage of.
Yeah. And we've saved a few people as well, from this. We've put processes in place to ask questions and figure out what's going on, a lot of this stuff. And then, we've also put out some newsletters, and then we're also actively sharing, where to go report this if it does happen. You go to the FBI, things like that, Department of Justice. And so they can investigate and figure it out too.
So they're telling them to buy gold, and are they shipping it to them? Or are they meeting them in person?
Yeah, go ahead.
So far, it's been, from the stories that I've read and heard, it's been a combination of mainly meeting them in person. So one person, they came to their house, and or they sent a third party carrier to come pick up the gold from them directly at their house. Another one, they had to go drive and meet a Department of Treasury representative in a parking lot of a casino somewhere, and give them the gold and meet the Department of Treasury person. And it sounds crazy, but it seems so official when people are in the moment and they're scared, and you're not thinking fully through. So it's mainly in person.
That's insane.
Chad's had clients that he's talked to that we kind of suspected it at the beginning, and Chad was even like, listen, this is a scam that's going on. Are you sure you're not getting scammed? And these guys are so convincing to the person that's getting scammed that they're just straight up. Chad, you can share that. He's just like, no, this is legit.
Yeah. And then it comes out later sometimes that, they were under threat, they to lie, say, yeah, no, I'm not giving it to anybody. Because they're being threatened with arrest, like they're thinking that they're dealing with someone official, from the government. And so they're thinking that, if they lie, if they tell the truth that like, yeah, I'm giving this to someone else or something like that, they feel like they're going to get arrested, and things like that. And so, I think the moral of the story is no government official or anybody, will ever ask you for money, for gold or silver or money or anything like that.
That's insane. So they're meeting them in person, or a third party carrier is coming up, and they're claiming they're from the Treasury Department. I feel bad. I do.
It's bad.
It is bad.
It is bad. But once they hand off that gold and have it in their possession, and they just disappear.
Well, it's scary how quickly these scammers change their tactics. It was, the IRS and gift cards. And now
exactly.
It's insane.
Wait. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like now you go to like I've started to see it Walgreens or CVS or whatever. Like now you see signs at the gift card section now that says you may be getting scammed. And I think it's just one of those things where you got to get awareness out there because in the moment it seems so real to the victim, and it just really, really is unfortunate. It is good. Like it seems like some of these people are getting caught, and it seems like some of the funds are getting recovered. But that's as long as they're being reported, you has those people are reaching out to their local law enforcement or to the Department of Justice, FBI, and reporting it. It's unfortunate that a lot of these people who end up, by the time they figure it out, they're so ashamed, or embarrassed, they don't want to report it. They don't want to tell anybody that something happened or that they fell victim to it. But I think it's very important that if you do fall victim to something like this, like you got to get out there and report it so people can catch these guys,
Yeah. I mean, the scammers just change their tactics all the time, but to sound like you're from the Department of the Treasury and then asking for gold and silver, something that's so
It's
precious, wild.
It is wild.
And do they have like a dollar amount that they're asking for? Is it just random?
So that's where the technology part comes in at the beginning. Is most of the time the victim installs some sort of malware or some sort of ransomware or something like that, a virus on their computer, which then allows the scammer to watch and see what's going on. And so they'll get an idea of how much money this person has by watching them like log into their bank accounts and that kind of stuff. And so really that's what it comes down to, is like they want all of your money. And, as soon as they figure it out how much you have, they're coming after you for like that amount. And it's really scary.
That's a new one. I haven't heard of that one. I've heard of the gift card thing. I've heard of the Amazon ones where people get Amazon packages delivered to them. It's not theirs, but gold and silver, that's something so precious that people are holding on to for their investment and things like that. That's just nuts.
So this industry has been a high target for fraud, for a while now, especially since we all started selling online, so people would get other people's banking information and try to change their address and have it delivered. And by the time the account holder actually figured it out, it's already delivered. Well, thank goodness there's technology has come along, and we've got fraud prevention software that runs everything before it actually, takes the order and confirms it and everything else like that. I mean, Chad can tell you he's more smart on computer. It runs their IP address and everything else. So, it kind of protects us. But there is, on a daily basis here, we have orders and people that are just trying to use someone else's credit card or their banking information to buy gold every day.
Good. Yeah. So you guys have systems in place that'll flag all that stuff and get it all done.
Yeah, we've got technology in the background that automatically identifies fraudulent purchases and stuff like that, and does a good job. And and then obviously phone orders. They're getting pretty good, but they're still criminals. Are not necessarily, they're criminals because it's easy, right? And they're trying to make easy money and trying to do things as easy as possible most of the time. So what I'm saying is, like, they're maybe not the most smartest group in the bunch a lot of the time, although they are getting smarter and smarter. But it's usually pretty obvious when it's over the phone, thankfully. But there's been a few close calls before in the past, but luckily the technology has gotten really, really good at catching things that are just anomalous, that don't make sense, addresses mismatching and IPs and all this kind of stuff. So it checks a lot of different factors to try to figure out whether a purchase is legitimate or not.
Well, that's good to hear that you guys are protecting your customers in so many different ways. We just had the election. Everything went on. What is in your professional opinion, what's the forecast for precious metals?
Yeah, I think I think historically, if you look back, gold has always pulled back, usually right after an election. So gold and silver really thrive on sort of instability and economic uncertainty, right? In which, leading up to any election, that's what you have, is instability and economic uncertainty. And so, yeah, historically, you always have a little bit of a pullback after an election. And then after that, the market starts to look back at the fundamentals of the economy, both locally here in America, but also globally, right? And I think what you'll find is we have a lot of uncertainty and a lot of instability across the world, right? You still got central banks buying gold at high levels. You still got a country with $36 trillion in debt and growing. You've got a lot of currency being printed. So the fundamentals are all there, for gold and silver to continue to thrive. Not to mention there's a lot of, technological innovations that are going on that call for a high demand of silver. So they've got that going for it too. But like what we were talking about earlier, these are short-term things. An election event or something like that is a short-term event. I really encourage people to pull out, and look at that 5, 10, 20-year view on gold and silver. And you'll see that no matter what happens, gold and silver has historically done really, really well. And it's just about wealth preservation. And it's like Klay said earlier too, it's about the freezing of that purchasing power. Yeah.
And I know you're saying look at the 20-year window and things like that. What are some key signs? Like when you invest in the stock market, you can follow the stock, you find that key time where it's time to buy and time to sell. Where do you find that with precious metals? Is there a key time where you're like, okay, now is the time to buy precious metals, where in the past, I haven't done it as much, you know what I'm saying?
I would look at it like a savings account and a checking account. Okay. When do you put money in your savings account? I would look at gold and silver as kind of like your savings account. It's going to be there. You're not playing with it in the market, blah, blah, blah. Because when I got into this industry, gold was a little under $300 an ounce. I never would have thought it would hit $2,700, $2,800 like it did the other day. Never in my wildest dreams, but it did. And, I look at as a preservation of wealth. When do you put money in your savings account? Do you do it monthly? Do you do it quarterly? I look at it like that. Gold is kind of like your savings account, your checking accounts, what you're playing with and investing with in other areas.
Yeah. And I mean, to tie it around to guns, it's you protect your family and you protect your home with guns, right? And it's you protect your wealth with gold and silver. There's never a wrong time to do either of those things. It's always good to protect those things that are most precious to you, which is your family, your home, and your wealth that you've worked so hard for.
Before we go into the wrap up, I just want to let you guys know, thank to our sponsor, Palmetto State Armory. We'll be sending you guys a great gift from them. They've hooked us up this year for the season, for season 2 of Stay a Second, and we'll be sending out you guys a cool gift. I'll get our producer and everybody over to you guys to get that. But thank you, PSA and AAC, for providing a cool gift for all our guests. Cameron was on a few weeks ago to announce that, so that is fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Again, we appreciate you guys being on. Thank you again for the education on gold and silver. I'm super excited. I'm going to start investing more and more into gold and silver. It's been something that I've been thinking about. If I want to go, and not just me, but anybody from GOA who wants to go or who's listening to this, where do they go to find you guys, socials, all that fun stuff? And go ahead.
Yeah, so you can go first off to our website, www.unitedpatriotcoin.com. You can find us under United Patriot Coin on Instagram as well as Facebook. That's where we primarily post. We're also on YouTube as well. If you want to call us, our phone number is 844-202-7834. And then, make sure you mention where you found us as well. We'll have something special for you as well.
Oh, the teaser there. So make sure you call them, guys. Call United Patriot Coin, get everything through them. Great supporters of GOA. They were at the Goals event, so check them out at Goals again next year or this year when they're walking around. Go make sure to stop by their booth and say hi. On that note, guys, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell for notification. Leave a 5-star review on all podcasting hosts, and we will catch you on the next one.